So this is what happens when your greenhouse gets too cold. Hi everybody, this is Jay with Bonsai'sforever, and today I have a very sad video, and hopefully not too sad. So we've had some really cold weather the last about a week. It's been down into the 20s, like the low 20s, and the greenhouse didn't stay above freezing. It was a couple of nights I came out and I looked, it was about 41 degrees. I know freezing is 32 Fahrenheit and 0 Celsius, but for some trees freezing is 52 degrees, 51 degrees, even 45 degrees. Some of them they survive that, and some trees don't. So the ficus trees, if you let them get below, I'd say 45 degrees, maybe even 50 degrees, they start getting damaged leaves. So all the leaves that I was showing you earlier in this video, that's what the leaves look like after they froze. So it's really sad. You work on your trees for the whole year and they're starting to look really good, and then winter comes and you can't keep the greenhouse warm enough, and then it's possible that you lose some leaves. It's possible you lose some trees. I'm really hoping that I'm not going to lose any trees because of this, but there's always a chance of that. So I'm hoping that the warmer weather that's coming this week and next, it's going to get down in the 40s. Not this week, 2 weeks I guess. I was looking at the weather earlier. It's going to be a few days, and it's going to get really cold again, so I'm going to make sure and put the heater back out here and see what I can do to keep it warm enough. But anyway, I'm going to go through some of the trees that got damaged. I'm not going to go through all of them because that's pretty much all of my ficus trees I'm going to have to go through. The leaves will fall off also when they get too damaged to stay on the tree. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to pick off, I mean, even the ones that are dead, they kind of still hold on to the tree, but I'm going to go through and pick off all the dead leaves off of all these trees. Hopefully there's some leaves left. If not, this isn't necessarily a good time of year to defoliate your trees, which, I mean, this isn't me going through and defoliating the tree like what you would do to improve the tree. This is going through and taking off all the dead leaves so that there's space for the new leaves to come in when it starts growing again. And I have left them where I didn't take the leaves off before and wait until all the leaves fell off, and that didn't turn out as well as when I went through and took off all the dead branches and all the dead leaves. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, because like every new growing tip is froze and dead. So if I can take those off, it'll give it a chance to recover. This one actually has a new leaf here still, which is pretty awesome. Having the canopy really nice and thick actually does help with the cold weather. It protects the tree a little bit better. We're going to go through and see what we can salvage on these trees, and really just see if we can save some of the trees, make sure that they don't completely die because of the frozen leaves. And most of the leaves that died on this tree in particular, and they're all different in the greenhouse out here, I've looked at quite a few of them, they're all different, but this one, most of the upper leaves died because of the height of the tree, and it's up here on the bench. I think what I'm going to do for next year, because I think the cold is pretty much over for this year, I hope it's over for this year, I don't know for sure. I'm going to keep an eye on the weather, but I'm going to get a shelf for underneath the bench, because I know you can all see all the ficus are over here. I got a couple over here. These ones were closer to the heater, and so they didn't have as much trouble, and they were all closer together, so that helped them out. But I'm going to build something underneath the bench. You can't probably see my hand. Something underneath the bench so that I can put all of my really fragile trees, like the ficus trees, under the bench to keep them lower, to try and keep them warmer. So I'm going to be working on that actually in the next few days. I'm going to be working on that. And I said I was going to try and do that for next year, but I think I might just do that now to see if I can prevent any of these trees from suffering any more and possibly losing these trees because the rest of the leaves died. And these trees can be defoliated, but you want to defoliate them when they're healthy and strong and putting out new growth. And these trees were, before it got cold, doing just that, putting out new growth and new branches and new leaves. I mean, they were all looking pretty good. And then the cold, so this wouldn't be a good time to defoliate it now. But like I said, the other ones that I didn't take the leaves off didn't do as well as the ones that I did take the dead leaves off. I think some of these leaves are alive enough that the tree's still going to try and push nutrients and try to get photosynthesis out of them, but they're damaged enough that they're not putting out enough nutrients to be useful to the tree. So if I can clean up the upper part of this canopy and get off all these dead leaves, then the lower leaves down here can start producing more strength for the rest of the tree, and that should help. So I know this is going to be long and tedious, so I'll probably just skip forward to the next part of the video from here. Okay, so I got the tree as defoliated as I need to get it for now. I'm going to leave it just like this. Right now, these leaves still don't look so great. I did cut off some of the ends of the branches, like the ones that are very dead and obviously dead. I cut the ends of those branches off. Not all of them, obviously. But so yeah, that's what she looks like for now. I am gonna water these now that it's warming up, because right now, of course I can't see it. Right now the greenhouse is pretty warm. I'm actually sweating a little bit. So anyway, I'm going to water these really good to see if that's going to help with the recovery. Get some water into the tree because it's going to be hot, or well, hot comparatively. It's going to be warm for the next about week, so I want to make sure and get them a little bit more strength so that they can handle the next cold stretch. So I'm not going to water them right this second. I'm going to do some more trimming, show you a couple of trees, because this is basically what I'm just going to be doing to everything. I'm going to just be cutting off some of the leaves, see if I can save these trees. I've had this happen a couple of times, and the ones that I thought were going to survive, I left the dead stuff on there and it just rotted right into the rest of the tree. So if you cut off the dead stuff that was killed because of the freeze, if you cut that stuff off, it actually increases the chances of the tree surviving. So at this point I want to leave all the live branches on it, but all the dead stuff I definitely want to take off. And another way you can tell if your tree is not doing well, if you've got exposed roots, squeeze the roots. If they feel firm, like a tree branch, then they're good. Also the trunk of the tree, if it feels firm, then it's good. If it feels squishy or the bark feels squishy, that's not a good sign. That you pretty much tell that the tree is dead. I mean, it might have green leaves on it still, might have a chance of some of it surviving, but I haven't had any good luck with that. So I'm not saying it can't be done, just I haven't been able to. This is a tree that I worked on in a recent video. And yeah, a lot of the leaves are dead on this one too. I know that trees die and trees grow, and you know, you have things happen to them and all that, but it's still kind of, I don't know, it's still kind of upsetting to me. Some of them you can see a living bud. If I'm going to cut it back, I'm going to cut it back to the living bud so that I can be sure that I got all the dead branch off. Some of the twiggier branches, it doesn't matter as much. If you're talking about a larger branch and you don't take the frozen branch off, I've seen it go back all the way into the tree and kill the whole tree. Not that the whole tree wasn't dying anyway, but I did cut it off on some of the other trees, and they seem to survive. So I guess in a situation like this, you could just go through and really prune it back, you know, and totally make a different shape out of the tree, because you know, nature made some choices for you. Alright, so there's that. Not too bad. It's still got branches on it. It should recover. Alright, so I got kind of a really cool tree here. This is one I've not shown before. I haven't shown it just because I haven't shown it yet. This is one that I put on a rock. There's a rock here and a rock here. And so it's going to be a root over rock type of styling. This one I did very recently, and it's still got giant leaves on it. So it is still in like very beginning stages of development. So I'm really hoping this doesn't set it back too far with its development, but we'll see. We'll see, because it might, or it might not. Taking off all the really big leaves might not actually help it. So usually I don't make videos about this kind of stuff. Not because I'm hiding anything, but just because this is tedious. And I just don't want to bore you guys with the tedious work of taking the dead leaves off of a tree after it froze. like I said, leaving as much on there as possible is also a good idea. You want it to be able to recover, especially because, like I said earlier, defoliating is something you want to do when the tree is healthy, not when it's not healthy. So don't want to completely defoliate it at this point either. If we're taking leaves off because they froze, you absolutely want to take all the frozen leaves off, but don't take all the leaves off. I'm going to cut the top back on this because it looks like almost all of this is dead. So I'm going to just cut these branches back to the first living leaf. And this one being in development, cutting it back like this isn't going to be a bad thing for it. Obviously it sets it back because it doesn't have the leaves creating the energy, but it's not going to be so bad for it. And if it survives, I hope it survives, but if it does, then the next set of leaves that come out are going to be a lot smaller. So that'll help with the development of it also. You see that's a lot of leaves. I don't know if you can see because the tree's in the way. That's a lot of leaves. Alright, so we're just going to do the ficus trees today. Have other trees in here that have some issues, but they're not too bad. Ficus were the ones that really suffered. I've done a video on this one before where I cleaned up the trunk and got the boring beetle out of there. So it was doing super good, putting on a lot of growth. So hopefully this one does well with the winter defoliation also. Who knows, maybe next year I'll just... No, I won't, because I did that once. I was thinking maybe next year I'll just defoliate it before the winter time. But I did that once, and the tree had all new, or pretty much all new leaves on it, and it died. I mean, that one, it died. It didn't just drop leaves like these ones are. It was bad. And that was one that was very important to me. So I don't think I'll do that again. It's good to think back on things that happened to your trees that wasn't good. Not necessarily to dwell on it and, you know, beat yourself up over it, but because remembering things in the past that happened help you to not make the same mistakes again in the future. So it's good that we think back on stuff that we did. Because just now when I was thinking back on that tree that I defoliated and the winter killed it, if I hadn't have thought of that and I'd have done that next year, then I'd have had all dead trees, and that would have been great. So I think this one was tall enough that it got a lot of the cold, plus it's closer to the wall over here, so more of the leaves died on this one. I'm definitely going to get something under the bench. I get rats out here, so I don't want something that the rats can get under and hide and eat my trees, because I did that one year, and yeah, that wasn't fun. That took a whole year of pruning and trimming and letting the trees grow to recover from that, because they cut off like all the smaller branches on the whole tree. Some of the trees, they pretty much took the tree down to a stump. The smaller trees, not the bigger trees, but took them down to almost a stump. So I don't want to put anything in here that rats can get under and make their little homes. So I'm going to try and find some kind of shelf that will sit up off the ground enough that it's not inviting, but low enough that I can put the taller trees under the bench, because the bench isn't really that tall off the ground. With the trees sitting on the bench, it's obviously tall enough for them to not do well in the cold, but I want them to be able to fit under there without me cutting them back. Some of the leaves just fall right off. Some of these trees, I think I might just put them on the ground, like just straight on the ground actually. I don't know if I need to build a shelf under there. I'll just put them on the ground. I have one over here behind me, and just the top of the tree had issues, but everything that was below the bench is still good. So maybe that's what I need to do, is just put the taller trees on the ground, and maybe I'll put them over closer in this area because the heater was like right over here. I don't have enough cord to get it to the other side of the greenhouse. This branch still hasn't healed. You can see that it's still really wiggly because I bent it right here. This branch, I think I might want to look at that. I'm going to look at it. I don't know what's going on under here. It doesn't feel like it's supposed to. The wire actually held it in place, so it didn't move from where I put it. That's some trash. Oh, that's awesome. It looks really weird. It smells rotten. That's not good. I don't think I'm going to be using this kind of tape anymore for anything. It doesn't really seem to do a good job. It doesn't let any warmth in there. So this whole section of the branch right here is all rotted. So I'm going to take this whole branch off. Take it off all the way down. Look at my bigger cutters. Yeah, that whole thing is rotted. You can see inside the tree too. Yep. No good. No good at all. This tree's been going through some hectic times. Alright, so something else I want to do with this while I have it out here is I want to carve that spot a little bit. Make sure that it's not going to rot into the rest of the tree. All right, so I think I got most of that carved out of there. This is new to me. This is something that I've never really had to deal with on any other tree. Most of the ficus trees are pretty solid. They don't do this in my experience. I'm not saying they don't, but like they don't, in my experience, they don't do this. So this is new to me. I'm trying to figure out how to keep this from completely rotting away. If anybody that knows about ficus trees, knows how to keep it from rotting away the rest of the way, that would be awesome if you would leave comments. Because there's actually some roots out here. That one's pretty solid, but this one right here is rotted out also. And there's one over here that's rotted out pretty bad too. So I'm wondering if that's part of what's going on up here. I don't know, maybe that'll be a really cool feature on this tree. But anyway, that's gonna do it for this tree. Actually, I'm gonna put these on the ground. Try and get to the back over here to get to this tree. So this one doesn't look anything like the last time I had it on my channel. Got a little lizard crawling up inside here. This is actually the tree that I did the graft on. The second grafting video. This is the grafted branch right here. And it took pretty well. Looks pretty good. I was going to do a video on it here in the near future, but here you go. So not necessarily an update video, just a well, it is an update, I guess, but it's pulling some of the leaves off video too. So this one isn't as bad as the other one down low. It's got some. This is a tall tree. I don't know if you can see the top of this tree. I'm gonna cut some of it off anyway. You can't see the top of that tree. Can't even see the top of it if I tilt the camera down all the way. There we go. Now you can see the top. If I could get back around the camera though. Alright, so now you can see most of the top. It goes clear up here though. You just pulling all the yellow leaves off, and whatever falls off, falls off. I'm going to try not to defoliate this whole tree. I'm going to take the top off though. It's getting too tall. Got a nice branch right here to turn into the leader. Got a bunch of lizards running around the greenhouse today. They like it when it's warm too. Alright, not too bad. I think that's good. Yeah, this is the branch that I grafted on. It did really well. It did get cold, but it didn't die off. The leaves are a lot smaller than the rest of the tree, which the rest of the tree will catch up with that. I'll defoliate this probably midsummer if it survives this. I'll probably defoliate it midsummer to get some smaller leaves, or as it ramifies more, the leaves get smaller naturally. So I might do that, or I might just do it in the summer to see if I could speed up that process a little bit. Because when you ramify or defoliate a tree, a ficus tree, they actually get more branches, so it helps them to ramify also. See if I can get this one over here. These two that are in the back on the ground, they're doing actually pretty good. Alright, so I did the rest of the trees that I'm going to work on today, and this is all the leaves that came off of them all. So I'm going to go ahead and put all of this stuff in my compost. I've got a big pot that I put all my compost into, or leaves and stuff, branches into. So I'll put all this in there. Wire doesn't compost. All right. So that's going to do it for that part of today's work. Sure, I'll find something else to do, but I'll let y'all go for now. And if you've watched this far, thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting me. Thanks for subscribing. If you haven't already, go ahead and do so. Awesome. Thank you all, and have a great day.